will Congress make the Chinese Communist Party pay for what it has unleashed on the world? Well, joining us now to discuss this is Republican Congressman of Florida, a member of the House Armed Services Committee and Green Beret, Michael Waltz is here. Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, good to be with you, and great lead into the enormity of what we're dealing with. And I've publicly said the Chinese Communist Party is in a Cold War with the United States. They have been for some years, and America needs to wake up to that fact. And the Congress absolutely needs to wake up to it.
All right, so Congressman, as the evidence grows, it most certainly seems to me the lab leak theory is where this occurred. Are there any Democrats that are willing to work with you on this? It seems like the mainstream media is covering up this story still to this day. Is there anybody you have any faith in that'll work to figure out what happened?
You know, we haven't found any yet. Unfortunately, I spent a year on a China task force looking at everything from what they're doing on Wall Street to the space race that's happening as we speak, to their military, how they've infiltrated our university systems and our research systems with wholesale theft that's going on. And sadly, Speaker Pelosi pulled the Democrats from that committee. This was a year ago, saying that she wasn't going to provide it an avenue. She wasn't going to provide a mechanism for then President Trump to cover up for his own failings. This cannot be a partisan issue. This is a national security issue. The Chinese government and Chairman Xi intends to replace the United States as a global leader. Listen to his own speeches where he talks about replacing the American dream with the China dream. And here's the thing, we bankrupted the Soviet Union with the space race and with Star Wars. And now the Chinese Communist Party is bankrupting the United States with this pandemic. And, the Democrats just can't spend enough to try to use COVID to promote their own progressive spending spree. And it's playing right into the Chinese military's hands.
I certainly offer up some partisan ideas on this program. I will readily admit that, and I'm happy to do it. But on this issue that's so important to national security that we make sure it doesn't happen again,
right.
It's not a partisan issue. Congressman, I'm convinced that the Democrats wanted to hang this virus on President Trump, and that if it comes out that it was engineered by the Chinese government, a lab leak, God forbid, on purpose, well, it's no longer President Trump's fault then, and they don't want to even know about it when our lives hang in the balance, Congressman.
Well, here's the thing. We cannot prevent the next pandemic. And by the way, the last three have come from China without understanding what happened here. There's only 3 places in the world that we know of that perform this type of sophisticated gain-of-function research, 2 in the United States, and I'm confident from what I understand of their security protocols, and only 1 other place in the world, that's Wuhan, China. So the odds of this pandemic coming out of there with this type of genetic sequence from a city that is larger than Manhattan and that is hundreds of miles away from the nearest bat cave, right, is just it just defies any kind of credibility. It's common sense, odds. Right? I mean, the odds are just ridiculous. But here's the thing, Rand. Everybody's incentives aligned to suppress this story. Fauci and his ecosystem of gain-of-function enthusiasts, that aligned, because if it came out that they were wrong and this type of research unleashed this pandemic on the world, that's their professional, financial, and reputational credibility on the line. Yeah. The media wanted to pin it on Trump, and then you had, of course, the Chinese Communist Party and their propaganda machine. So everybody was aligned to suppress this story. I'm thankful that it's finally coming out. I'm the the ranking member on the Research and Technology Subcommittee. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
All right, real quick, and I'm running so far behind, so I quickly, if we can. The idea that there are Chinese spies inside the FBI, CIA, and Lord knows what other intelligence agencies, real quick, if you can, just a quick comment on that.
The Chinese Communist Party has the most extensive spy network that I think this nation has ever faced. It's in our universities. They're in our businesses. They are targeting local government officials. They knew who was for them and who was against them. And it would not surprise me one bit to find out that we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg for their infiltration, because they're doing something no other government has ever done, and that is flooding America with Chinese money.
Yeah, well, it's very, very scary, and it is. I'm right there with you. The Cold War is underway, and maybe not even so much of a Cold War, because we have been attacked. When you think about fentanyl, when you think about the China virus, when you think about their attacks on our cybersecurity, these are real attacks, not just out there in the periphery. Congressman Michael Waltz, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
All right.